Hello, my name is Imran Salahuddin. This is for Mr. Blanco's DE English 111. Today is October 7th, 2025, and today my interviewee is Derek Griggs. So how are you doing today, Mr.
I'm
Griggs?
great. How are you?
Great. So my first question today is, could you tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and what personal experiences had shaped you early on?
I was born in Florida, and I moved many times by the time I was done with high school. So I graduated high school in Maryland, and that was the fifth place I had lived, the fifth town I had lived in, because some of those places I lived in, a few places. The main place I grew up and where I consider to have grown up is in Huntsville, Alabama. I lived there from when I was 6 to when I was 14. So that was like
8 years.
Yeah, third grade to 10th grade. That's when I was there. It's your childhood.
Yeah.
So my dad was a military and NASA contractor, depending. So we were in Huntsville because of both. There's a lot of space stuff in Huntsville. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. But graduated high school when I was 16. Went to Johns Hopkins. Physics major. I did not finish school there. 16 was a freshman in college.
It's big, early.
It's pretty early. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. It took me a little while to figure that out. I ended up stopping going to school there, and I ended up going to Lincoln Tech for a while to learn about working on cars. I got a job in the industry. I didn't even finish Lincoln Tech. Started working full time. That was in 2002, and I've been in the industry since.
That's great.
I think the thing that I like to take away from that is that I remember when I was 16, I knew exactly what my path was going to be, without a doubt. I had absolutely no doubt in my mind exactly what I was going to do. And I had a lot of pressure to feel that way. I needed to know where I was going to go to school, what I was going to do. And I see that in you, my students, often, that you feel like you need to have it figured out.
Yeah.
Because you're wasting time if you don't go and do this thing. But there's no race, and there's no prescribed path other than the one that you take.
Yep.
So I do my best to guide my students into not closing doors before they get to them, because you change a lot over the years that you're in high school. And the person you are as a senior is not the same person physically, mentally that you were as a junior. So I try to help you not close doors. Don't make decisions for yourself in the future yet. But at the same time, you don't know what you need. You don't know what you want. And so it's okay to try things and fail and decide that they aren't for you, or decide that they are for you, because you never really know what that's going to be.
That's great. So I know you mentioned that you first went to Johns Hopkins, and then you first went to Lincoln Tech. Why did you pursue a career in teaching, and how did you realize it was the right path for you?
So I was an automotive technician from 2002. In the early 2010s, I started to dabble in what's called service writing. Service writing is a front of the house job, so that when we talk about a shop, there's the front and the back. It's kind of like at a restaurant. The back of the house, the back of the shop is technicians, lube techs. The front is the people who interact with customers. You know, when technicians interact with customers, generally it's a different skill set to be able to fix a car versus talk to a human. I find that oftentimes there's not a lot of overlap. So I worked as a writer, on and off, and I turned to do more and more. I started running some shops, writing and working on cars at the same time. And as a writer, one of the things you do is you take the information from a customer. A customer says, this is what's wrong with my vehicle, this is what I would like you to do, and you say, okay, you give that information to the technician. They look over the vehicle, perhaps they tell you what it needs. You then take that information back to the customer. For some people, it's a sales position, right? I'm trying to sell this work to the customer. I'm trying to get them to buy the things that I want them to buy so that I make money for my shop. I always thought of it as an education experience. So a customer comes in and they say, here's what's wrong with my car, which they do not know, right? That's why the technician, the professional, is going to spend their effort and the customer's money on working at that. Yeah. So I'd like to make the customer understand not just what's wrong with their car, but why the things that are wrong with it need to be fixed, why it's important to do them certain pieces of maintenance and things like that. And I never treated it as sales. I hate sales. I've never been good at it. I never liked things being sold to me. So for me, what I like to do was just explain, here's what's wrong, here's why it's wrong, here's what that could result in, and here's why you should fix it. And I was successful. I made good money doing that. Somebody I care about very much would come in once in a while, watch me do that, and said to me, you feel like you're teaching. It feels like you're teaching the customer. There's an opening at Lincoln Tech for a teacher. Why don't you go try? I wasn't especially happy with the shop I was in. That's one of the common things about automotive is that they always say toolboxes have wheels for a reason.
Yeah.
People change their jobs regularly. So I went and I applied. I got an interview. Mr. Gaffoe gave me the interview there.
Oh, wow.
He was the lead instructor at the time. The interview I had, I walked in. They said prepare a 10 to 15 minute presentation on a topic, automotive topic of my choice. I did it on AC. I went in, gave a presentation to a prepared class, and what prepared means is they have been taught and coached to misbehave. So I had to handle the class for the first time, give my presentation. That was in 2016. I've been teaching ever since.
It's amazing. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you find most rewarding of being a teacher? And what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced inside the classroom?
I like seeing the lessons and skills that I give my students to help them be successful in life.
Mm-hmm.
I teach automotive repair, auto tech, but I teach a lot of things, I think, outside of just curriculum as far as how to be a good person and live a good life. Now, I don't tell my students how to do it, but I help them find how they can do it for themselves.
It's true.
Right? Because my opinion about it isn't the important part. It's that they're, finding fulfillment and happiness. So I love when my students come back. Sometimes I'm in regular contact with them through this procedure, but when they come back and say, hey, here's where I am now. And even if it's not my result of my teachings, I just love to see them be successful, happy, have families or have good jobs, buy cars that they want, live lives that they hoped that they would. That's one of the fulfilling things. I think the opposite of that, maybe the other side of that coin, that's a difficulty in the classroom, is that there's a lot of things that go on in my students' lives that I can have little or no effect on that break my heart. And it's the small things, it's not the grandiose things that I'm a mandated reporter for, that I have to report to CPS, for example. It's not that kind of thing. That's bad, but I am doing something about that when that happens. This is like heartbreak, family members losing jobs or being injured or sick, dying. And I'm here, I try to make my classroom and the place around me at school as safe of a space as I can for anybody who needs something like that, non-judgmental. But that's tough. It's really tough, and it's taken me some amount of effort and learning to make it so that I don't internalize the hurts that my students go through, because it doesn't help them for me to feel bad. But I do feel bad that there's things like that happen that I can't do anything about.
I also feel the same way about people that saying that there's something wrong going in someone's life and I can't really do anything that really helps them other than just to be there for them. I find that really hard with also with other my peers as well. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. For my fourth question is, how has your teaching style changed from when you first started from Liberty Tech, when you first got that interview with Mr. Gaffoe, and then to now? So now we have 2025, and you've been teaching for X amount of years. So what's the big change that you've seen before those years ago?
I think the biggest change is probably how I am able to, while meeting my students, and that's not on the first meeting certainly, but while meeting my students and getting to know them, I can tailor what I teach and the manner in which I teach in order to be in a means they are best capable of absorbing. I had taught and read and learned and understood that, there's kinesthetic learners and there's auditory learners and there's visual learners, and, so you learn early on, including in lesson plans, to do that sort of planning. Make sure that you have those sort of the lessons broken up into those ways. But there's a lot more to having a student learn a lesson than that. And they, I like the phrase meeting them where they are. So I think that, and it's not to say that I go and write a lesson plan differently, but when you know a person, you can learn how to communicate with them effectively. Mm-hmm. And a lot of being a teacher is good communication. And I'm not to say that I'm a fantastic communicator, but I do my best, and I do learn and have learned that having students learn is a lot about, finding out how they learn, finding out how to communicate with them, finding out, what the best way, what specific information they're most capable of learning. I know we have learning objectives. I want them to learn these certain things, but there's some times where it's really about how do I put my effort best. One thing I tell my students all the time, and this is true for teaching, is that when you go to school as a student, you only learn in a relationship to how much effort you put in. So if you come to school and you expect to be taught, you're not going to end up with much. Mm-hmm. You need to come to school and put in your own effort and energy and attention in order to succeed. And as a teacher, the more effort that I put in to that, I feel like that pays off.
Yeah, I really agree with that, because for students and potentially me as well, when I do come to school, it's rather than me coming to learn, it's me rather than listening to the teacher and then potentially learning from there and using my information to be more acknowledged. And my fifth question for today is, who are the people, potentially teachers, mentors, or maybe students, who influence you the way you approach teaching?
I think I'm going to have a list of two. Mm-hmm. First is my father. He, well-learned, PhD, nuclear physicist, very academically minded. There's a lot of approaches to being a technician that he's never a technician, but that I've, the things that he's taught me and lessons that I've learned from him. He's helped me approach difficult concepts in digestible and understandable parts. Mm-hmm. And so that's affected any number of things that I do. And the second is Mr. Gaffoe. He was the person who helped give me my first teaching job. He's a very dear friend of mine. He's my mentor. And we work together here. I think how small these quarters are for an auto shop, how many students we have down here. And I don't know if there's anybody else, any other pair that would be able to work in such close confines with overlap that as us. I mean, you know, I've worked on race cars with him, we've worked on projects together outside of school, we work on everything at school. We have a very good duality, it's a good pair. And he's helped me a lot, help understand things about myself, about how I can teach better, and just how to teach better in general.
I also see that with Mr. Gafo and you. I feel like you guys are two peas in a pod. More than mentors, I feel like you guys are also like brothers.
Yeah,
the way you guys
friends.
work together, helping on students, for people like me, the people that may have trouble on auto tech, for the electudes, for stuff, for things like that I would have trouble with. You would always refer to Mr. Gafo to help you out if you're helping another student. And I really realized that you two are like closer to brothers than coworkers. And why do you believe that teachers play such an important role beyond academics and student lives? I heard you mention that maybe the CPS might be the case, but what do you think that beyond academics that it may affect students?
I think that our students, especially at this school, but in this country in general, have a wildly varying amount of role models upon which they can rely. And a significant number of role models that people end up choosing for themselves aren't good ones. Public figures aren't good ones. Politicians aren't good ones. And beyond that, it's just random chance who you have in your life that can be an influence on you. So I think the teachers, when they care about their students, when they put in effort to take care of them and be good for them, can be a significant positive influence. And so I take that seriously by trying to just model, at least in some ways, what a good person can do, what a good person can be, how you can be conscientious, how you can care about other people, how you can take care of other people and be respectful and that kind of thing. So I think it's an important part of being a teacher. I don't think it's my responsibility or place to tell my students how to think or what to feel. But I do my best to be good and hope that that influences them to also be good.
And I appreciate that. Like for you, like I would call you my role model, because not for the stuff that you teach us, but for things that you do for us outside of academically. Asking if I'm okay mentally, asking if I need help, or last year in chemistry if I wasn't performing to the best of my abilities that you knew I was going to do. Making sure that I was okay in my day-to-day life and asking if I had any problems. And for me, I really appreciated that.
Good. And
for my seventh question today is, how do you hope your students will describe the impact you have left on them from years from now? I know you give students different advice. What do you think that what do you hope that your students will say for future auto tech 1 or 2 students?
In a conceited manner, I think honestly the thing that I hope the most is that I can influence and help inculcate a love of cars in my students. I mean, there's lots of, I think real responsibilities that I have about teaching my students and about helping prepare them for adulthood and the world, which is not an easy place to be. But I like cars a lot. Maybe that's a surprise. I like cars a lot. I like teaching about cars. I like talking about cars. I like working on cars. I like thinking about cars. And so one of the things that I do hope is that my students come back and visit me sometime in the future after starting a successful continuation of their life, and they bring back a cool car to tell me about it, show me about. Like, that's really, if I was going to be conceited about something, it would be that. I hope that happens. It does happen. It has happened. I hope it continues to happen.
That's amazing. What's the best car you think you've seen, in your own opinion, that you've seen from a fellow student of yours?
From a student? My students have some pretty cool cars. Stuff they spend a lot of time on, they work a lot on. I have a student that has, an STI with a built engine. A student has a couple students who have Civics that are very, very heavily modified. Really nice BMWs, Supras.
It's amazing.
A lot of good stuff.
Appreciate that.
But it's also just a really nice work truck.
Yeah.
That they use to, get to their job that makes them money more than their parents make.
That's amazing. So what advice would you give on students who think about becoming a teacher or a professor?
You're not going to get rich. If money is the driving force in your job, I get paid money. I'm not doing this, purely out of altruism. I'm not that well off. But there's a lot of, you must find passion and fulfillment in it. Otherwise, I think that it is a difficult job. And one thing that I definitely consider my students to be is understanding when someone is trying their best to help them versus when they aren't. Mm-hmm. And the students know. Students know even when I have a bad day. So my advice would be make sure that you're in it for the right reasons, and make sure you're understanding that it is something you must dedicate a significant amount of mental attention to be successful in.
Makes sense. If you weren't teaching and at Johns Hopkins you really enjoyed what you really did, what do you think you'd be doing instead?
If I wasn't teaching, I'd probably be running a shop, realistically. I still go and help my friends over the summer once in a while to run shops. So I'd probably have my own shop at this point. It still might be something I do
in the future,
supplementary to teaching. Yeah, it takes a lot of time and effort to run a shop, and I'm not rich to invest in a shop, so it'd be something that I could do in my spare time and my part time. I've thought about building engines for hire or tuning for hire. But yeah, that's what it would be.
What has surprised you most about being a teacher?
Surprised me most? I knew it, I think, by the time that I got to Lewis, although I am finding that high school is the best for me. I prefer high school to college. But I don't want to be anywhere else or do anything else. So this is the best job I've ever had, and it's really given me a lot of positive influences outside of just work. I think that trying to be a good teacher and trying to be a good person for my students has helped me be a better person. So.
And for me, we really love that about you, Griggs. You always want to make sure that everyone's doing the right thing, and we really appreciate that. What's one piece of advice that you wish all students that would always take to heart no matter what?
That could be a really long list. When you're 14, 16, 18, you have so little time on earth. It feels like a long time. You've been here forever.
Yeah.
But you haven't. And there's a lot of things about living on earth that are not obvious and hard to teach. So I could get really esoteric about this, but I think in general, a couple of things that I would give is find forgiveness in your heart for yourself, because you are going to make mistakes and you're going to be imperfect and you are going to do things that you wish you hadn't, and since I did some cringe, something like that. But find forgiveness in your heart for yourself, and be kind to other people too. I think if you're capable of giving yourself the forgiveness that you deserve, it's easier to do it for other people. And the world is so lacking in empathy and kindness that if I could really put into the hearts of my students that they should be kind to themselves first and to other people as a result, then I think that'd make the world a better place. It's hard. It's hard to be here.
Yeah.
It's not an easy challenge. So.
I really love the way you worded that. I really do think also that about your opinion. I really do think the world could always be better. That if someone is being kind, that if everyone is being kind, that would also make the world a better place. And I think that you worded that amazingly. So I appreciate that. And finally, my last question today is, what do you think makes your classroom distinct from others? So for me, in this class last year, it was a great community, a great place of learning, and other than, I know it was just school, but it also felt like home. For me, it was more like not just my peers, but my brothers and sisters are here with me learning. And for me, I know my opinion, but what do you think that makes your classroom distinct from others?
we generally have a philosophy down here that Autotech is family.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that you considered it to be a second home is kind of our goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it makes, building a community, a Lewis community, but a Lewis Autotech community is one of the things that Mr. Ufo and I take very seriously. Because when we have students that are looking forward to being here, they're enthusiastic about the things that they're doing, they care about the tools and the space and the other people here, it makes what we do easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to work on cars, to teach about cars when I'm constantly trying to worry about if my students are going to misbehave, if they're going to damage things, if they're going to break things. So by building in the feeling that this is your place,
Mm-hmm.
these are your classmates, your co-workers, your family, I think is one of the things that does make this place unique. I mean, working on cars to me is fun.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it. And so I like to make the environment here as fun as possible. And that's not to say goof off, but I really like it to be something that my students look forward to coming to Autotech because they're excited to see what we're going to be doing in a given day.
Mm-hmm. I also do agree with that as well. I love coming to your class and knowing that we could do something that is really interesting and maybe next day do something that for me personally that isn't interesting but it's interesting to someone else.
Sure.
And that you really value other people's opinions. I really want to appreciate Mr. Griggs for being here. He is the Autotech teacher today here at Lewis. Thank you so much. My name is Imran Salahuddin and we are out. Bye-bye.
Bye.